second week now. Very excited to be here. I am a music, pop culture, sports fan coming from the world of social across music industry, automotive, lifestyle app kind of type startups, everything from Universal Music Group to VeVe, funny enough, now that I work for VeVe, and Acura Automobiles, Herbalife Nutrition for a short stint as a social manager, and now on to VeVe, which is I'm really excited about. This is kind of more in my wheelhouse than the last few things I've done, and I'm really excited to take this thing to the next level.
What I mean, you've been here for a couple of weeks now. I mean, what's your first impressions of the platform? Is it obviously we're all incredibly excited about it, and you're getting to know the community. I'd just like to get a little early feedback from you as to your first impressions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first and foremost, the community is really what surprised me about coming on and kind of digging in, both here on Discord and socials, really trying to build up that voice. And I'm realizing that, we don't have a lot of hard work to do because the community is so involved and so, rabid in about OMI, about VeVe, about digital collectibles, about collecting in general, which I really appreciate. I knew coming in that Dan and David were both hardcore collectors, but it really comes through in the product that I've found, and it really comes through in the passion of the community. So just spending some time kind of trolling around here on Discord, you probably have seen me, like a comment here and there, or see me in the mods side panel, just kind of soaking it all in, figuring out like what people are passionate about, what people want to see more of, what any gripes are, just so that we can get a sense for, making sure that we are speaking to the audience in a holistic and authentic way when we're posting on social or we're coming up with marketing programs for any of our new partners or drops, etc. And I think, it's been a lot of fun, and I think it's made my job, a lot easier, to be honest.
Yeah, we've always said how much we value just the rolling feedback that we managed to get, especially doing things like these AMAs, and it definitely helps us to refine the way that we're putting information out as well. I think a few people are probably curious. Obviously, we tweak this system a little bit every week, but do you want to just give a bit of a general overview of how we roll out new information? Because obviously we put some stuff on Instagram now. We're really starting to focus on the VeVe Instagram and socials, then the Medium articles. What's the kind of structure that we're running with there?
Yeah, it's clear that most of the audience, as far as social goes, are on Twitter. On Instagram, there's a big opportunity for us to be, more involved there, in that it's kind of maybe one bit of a wider audience, and it's visual, so that the nature of our business is that we are selling digital collectibles. So to be able to, drop first looks there on, either announcements or first looks at new series that may be dropping, new collectibles, and get the feedback instantaneously on that platform, I think is a big opportunity for us. So we'll continue to build, that presence out. But in terms of like structure, rolling everything out, we try to do everything, at the same time. So not one audience for one platform feels like they're getting information before the others. We may want to revisit that, as we go, but social is iterative, and you try, see what works, see what doesn't work. But for the most part, I think, the system that you guys had put in place before Noah and I even got here has been great. A lot of that is coming from, passionate people working on both on the Ecomi and the VeVe side. Now it's just about getting a little more structure around it and kind of working within the confines of each platform and making sure we're speaking to those specific audiences, because those audiences are just a little different. Not much right now, but as we start getting more people on the platform, on VeVe, you'll see that the interests will vary by social network. Yeah, so that's kind of general.
Yeah. So really, what you're saying there is we're taking away the power from David Yu to leak all these videos.
I've actually just had another word with him this morning about that. So we're trying to pull him in line, but he's a wild card.
He's definitely a wild card. Welcome,
He would
Dan.
be a CEO if he wasn't.
Yeah, that's it. It makes me laugh so much when we do these video interviews, and he just looks like he's ready to burst every time we chat to him. So it is good to get some structure. All right. Well, look, Dan, I know we've only got you for about 20 minutes, and Alex, very, very happy to have you here. So we might just start opening to the floor now. If guys want to jump in, if anyone has a question specifically for Dan, I know people want to talk about the drop. So maybe we can get a few of those out of the way, and then we'll come back and chat with Alex as well.
Yep. So you guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect, cool. Yeah, so I've been nominated as a tribute, unfortunately, just to kind of get a couple of topics that people were slightly, I guess, frustrated about, and they didn't know how to phrase it in a very constructive way. So I've kind of just gathered everything together. So conscious of Dan's time here, but just a couple of bits of feedback regarding the drop today. So these are kind of things that people were concerned about, but mostly just things that we probably couldn't have predicted. So firstly, the new drop system, I can see why you guys kind of approached it with the whole timer. Definitely solved some of the previous issues with people getting stuck in like lagging screens. But one concern is devices were out of sync with the timer. So some people who maybe had multiple people with devices, they were up to even 2 seconds out of sync, and you guys know that 2 seconds makes a huge amount of difference. And there was no way to actually kind of sync up the time. It's just how it was, which is it's an iterative process. I'm sure that this will improve as well. The second concern is this is something that I experienced. Is when the timer hit 0, my buy it now button actually didn't pop up instantly. It popped up after like a second. And I guess that's, just part of the, just part of the underlying tech. Yes, you have to kind of render this button, but how long that takes to render it depends on various factors. So I noticed that some people, when they did it, it popped up instantly, which again, can be improved on. And lastly was the.
Let me just jump here and ask the questions. Otherwise, I'll
Sure.
forget what the first one was.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we're always trying to make improvements. Obviously, the clock gate was a big issue for everyone. We do think long and hard about how we're going to roll out these particular updates in the platform. This is as you mentioned, Kay, this is the first iteration of what we've come out. And overall, it actually went, very well. I mean, I know a lot of people out there in the Twitter sphere. There's a lot of speculation about a whole lot of things, but within the company, we have cold hard data, right? So we can really understand, are there bots? Are people getting an advantage? And we can see very, very clearly from a bird's eye perspective as to exactly what's happening there. So the feedback actually has been really awesome from the community on the buy now button. The timing, while it may seem the further away the time is from the actual drop point, there can be some variances in that, but it should be lining up very, very closely within milliseconds by the time we hit the drop point. I do have a meeting planned with the team just to cover off everything around that. It was something that we already knew about before rolling it out. But from what I'm seeing, in the data, I'm not sure about your buy now button, Kay. But obviously, yeah, this is the first iteration. We're trying to, roll these features out and improve them kind of over time. But this is still by far better than what we had, and I think let's just, step back and look at, this is a new implementation. It's allowed people who don't want to participate in Clockgate or maybe don't know about it to slightly level the playing field a lot more. So from my perspective, it's a big step in the right direction. The first iteration, where there'll more than likely be improvements. As you guys know, we're always rolling out updates and improvements on the app.
Quick question. For the Batman Who Laughs, can we expect something similar? As far as the interaction? What was that comment on Twitter about? all about?
Well, no, we posted about that this morning, that the Batman Who Laughs has been upgraded to first appearance, as has number 76, Robin.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I did see that.
The last thing, just wanted to touch on, because people just kept on hounding me about it, is so yes, pretty sure I've been telling everyone, the team's been definitely banning bots. They've been, I don't doubt that at all. I've kind of like, seen it happening. But I guess the concern is, and we had quite a good conversation around this last week, Dan, is kind of, I guess, ways to reduce this effect of people using, maybe now people seem to be using auto clickers, because the buy now button is in one space and you're not penalized for hitting it too early, because you can't hit it too early. So people are kind of coming up with all these sorts of ideas, like captures or some form of gamification, clicking certain dots in a certain sequence, just ways to kind of get around the I guess auto clickers now. I don't know if this was a conversation that you were planning to have, or feel free.
So, I mean, I think my answer to that is that the entire basis of that assumption is that there are a significant amount of bots, right? And I can understand why people might assume that, because these things sell out in seconds. I mean, let's just take into account, with the Ghost Trap, the mint number was so low. I mean, we knew it was just going to go like that. But again, on our side, we have all of the hard data, and I've already spent the morning reviewing, and I can tell you guys 100% that over 95% of the Ghost Traps purchased are all purchased by individual accounts. So we know that that they are not bots, and that bots are not controlling, massive portions of the drops, as I've kind of seen across Twitter. But I can understand why it might seem like that. So there are users out there that do have multiple, say, Ghost Traps, for example. And again, whenever these things come up, we do an investigation internally, and I go through their, all of their transaction history, and I see that they buy one in the store, and then they've transferred it. They've either purchased it from the market, or maybe it's been transferred from another account. So are there people out there with multiple accounts? More than likely. That's, as I've mentioned previously, that's something that is very, very difficult to police, for us to determine, well, actually not even us, but any software company to determine whether one user and another user is the same person. But on the bot front, as I've been saying, for the past couple of days on Twitter, that it is very, very minimal. And I think what happens is that, one video goes up or one post goes up in Telegram where, someone's selling 5 Ghost Traps, and it literally starts this spiral of, oh my God, VeVe is completely controlled by bots. But I can tell you, based on the data, that it's absolutely not the case. We're always rolling out new features. Some of you guys might know that there was another rollout on Android, a forced update on Android. That was to put in another layer of protection against bots that we thought would be good to go out before the Ghost Trap, because we knew that was going to be very intense. So I think when asking these questions, Kay, is really about understanding the assumptions of where these questions are coming from, and we need to make sure that those assumptions are actually correct.
Yeah, exactly. So I just essentially wanted the community to hear it from yourself as well, because I know you guys. It's really easy to focus on the negatives, but I know you guys have been churning out so much stuff the past few months, literally. So thank you for your response.
No worries.
Sorry, I was just going to say, just on that, as a perfect example, I saw on Twitter this morning that someone offered Ray Fixie 500 Ghost Traps. there's only 1,700 or whatever for sale, right? Nobody has 500 ghost traps. But instead of someone actually stopping to think about that, people started to run with it and assumed that someone managed to get that many. Not even the best bots in the world could manage to get that many ghost traps. So like, yeah, sometimes I think people just need to take a breath and maybe really understand that for whatever reason, people will always try to stir the pot. And that's a perfect example.
Yeah, I believe it was like $42,000 worth of ghost traps, something like that. 500.
It's nonsense. That's what it is. Nobody's got it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did have a question for Dan, if y'all have a second.
Go for it, mate.
Glad to have you on. I watched a video with you and NFT Pirate the other day. Awesome interview.
Awesome, appreciate it, man. It means a lot. So it's two questions. I'll be real quick. What would be the negative on mixing in on certain drops, just randomizing your mint numbers so that there isn't a first come first serve, which would completely eliminate bots out of the whole equation, and then it would give other people in different areas who may be on 4G or 5G an opportunity to get some lower mints to kind of mix it up a little bit. And my second question would be, I noticed that over the past couple of months, we're really starting to get a lot more art, which is the part that I'm probably most excited about, because I've started to dive down into Cossack and Frank, and they've introduced me to other artists. So I'm really excited for the art part of it. Is this something going forward that we're going to get that regularity on artists? And if so, how many would we say we would have before the end of the year?
Yeah, great questions. Randomization, yeah, let me have a chat with the team on that one. That's actually a great suggestion. So we are actually making some further updates to our purchase reservation system at the moment. Excuse me. I'm sure you OGs here, remember the the excruciatingly painful drop days back a couple of months ago. But really now that reservation system has been improved to the point where we are processing thousands, if not tens of thousands of transactions literally within a matter of seconds. And we are making another optimization to that process. So let me have a chat with the team about randomization. I don't actually believe that would prevent users trying to use bots. I mean, if they still probably want to try and get some because it's just, high demand. And on the artist side, absolutely, we will be bringing on more artists. We've already got new artists in the pipeline that I can't announce just yet. But the artist alley side of VeVe is definitely going to be growing. Obviously, we've got, we've had Frank Kozak in there, which was awesome. I mean, I absolutely love his Labbits. We've also had Ron English, sometime in the next month or so, we'll see the next series of serial killers coming out. And we do have a whole line of other artists. I think it really just adds another whole flavor to VeVe. I mean, brands are cool. Don't get me wrong. I love Batman. I love Marvel. But it's also really cool to be able to expose the world and our fans and users to these artists out there. In addition to that, later on in the year, we do also have another program coming out, which is kind of part of the Artist Alley. Sorry, excuse me. Where we will be basically doing one-of-one artworks. So stay tuned for more information on that.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job. No complaints over here, man.
Thanks, man. I love your support.
Can I ask a question?
Oh. Ken.
Go ahead. All right, thanks. Hey, Dan.
Okay.
I love this community.
Yeah, okay, Austin. Yep, you go.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I have two questions, kind of suggestions. I'm not sure if this is possible. But for the bot situation, if there is bots, maybe there's very, very little. Is there any possible you can use use your fingerprint scanner to uniquely identify the user?
Yeah, I'll just answer that question. I mean, the only issue with that is, again, it's the assumption that everyone's phone has a fingerprint scanner. So we can't, we have to think of things quite holistically, because there are a very wide range of users and a very wide range of devices. So we can't necessarily disadvantage someone else because they don't have a particular piece of technology. And then, to be honest, the amount of time it takes the device to scan and recognize your fingerprint is probably going to add, too much extra time to give you an advantage.
Oh, I meant just for like when you started up in the app, not every purchase or every drop.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. We will absolutely be adding some additional security features like that in the future. Sorry, Kyle. I think Austin, did you have a second question?
Yes, I had a second question. Sorry to cut you off, Kyle. No worries. My second question was the user interface on when you were doing the buy drop. The cancel button, when I was doing it today, I was moving so fast, and that cancel button is huge, and I hit it by accident, which then took all my chances away. So I was wondering if we could make it a lot smaller, so there's no incidents like that.
Yes, that actually, Alex brought that up with me this morning as well. He said he tried to get it into the drop, and the exact same thing happened to him as well. So I will be taking a look at that for sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Nightmare. Yeah,
Great. I just had
Mr.
one quick question.
We need to
so-
get some sort of order going in here. So yeah, let's go Nightmare, followed by Mr. Moogly, and then we can go next.
Cool. I just got one quick question. So I noticed in one of the last few updates, when you look at one of your collectibles and then you go down to the details, it has like I know you guys added the seasons now. That's really cool. But I noticed it also took away what you paid for the collectible, and that's just kind of made it really hard for me to remember what I paid for certain things. If I want to resell them, I can only really remember what I paid for like the ultra rares off the market, for example, the big boys and anything that I may have gotten retail. So I was just wondering if that was coming back, or if there was going to be an easier way to see what you paid other than going through the transaction log.
Yes, absolutely. We might have been a little bit premature on removing that particular piece of information. The main reason is because behind the scenes we're working on adding a lot more clarity on price history, globally for a collectible. So what you paid for it, what the high price, what the low price, potentially some grouping of edition. If it's sub 100, what's the average people are paying. So I absolutely have heard the call from the community. So we'll get that one back in until we have the price history feature in place.
Great, thank you so much. Very exciting to hear. I'm going to step down so other people can talk, but I just want to say thank you guys so much for doing these AMAs. We definitely really appreciate them as a community. And thank you guys for all the cool content you've been pumping out. That Ghost Trap today is super cool.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
Moogly, have you got a question there? And if not, we'll go Crypto Turtle.
Thanks. Are you listening to me, guys?
Yep.
Okay, just quick questions to Dan. I would like just to know if you guys are considering just using notifications on the marketplace, like for example, when someone purchases your collectible or any other kind of notifications. And the second quick question is if you guys are considering adding like a second layer or a captcha before after the buy button, like for example, an ABC questions about the collection itself, or a captcha with the light traffic, so all the bikes. Sorry for my English.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries, it's fine. So yeah, first question, notifications. I know that they are fairly limited in the app at the moment. They are going through a refactor or basically a rebuild in the app right now. The notifications is kind of one of the last things that's left over from, when we had to go through this huge kind of refactor of the back end, when we had the huge number of users come in. So you can anticipate that in the future there will be more notifications available, just so you know what's going on. And then secondly, the capture, I mean, we've got to think about the reason why we're adding that in. I mean, I think that, again, the assumption is that we want to add the capture in because there's, quote unquote, bots and emulators out there. But as I've mentioned, they are actually very, very small, like way down in the single-digit percentile of users on the platform. So, from my perspective, if bots were a major issue, and I can tell if they're a major issue because we're looking directly at the data of what is happening during drop time, then I would absolutely move forward with adding a capture or some kind of human interface layer. But right now, it's the bots and emulators are still, at least in my opinion, are under control. They'll probably never be gone completely, but they are very, very minimal. And when they do manage to get in, they're not getting 10s or 20s of these. They may be getting, say, a maximum of 4 or 5. But as I say, it's very, very low. So, based on that, we really need to consider that, what is the purpose or what is going to be the advantage of adding a capture. So, we do think these things through quite carefully. And at this point in time, adding a capture is not really going to add any added advantage. If that changes in future, I'm always open to, looking at what we're doing in the app to improve the experience.
Okay, cool.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
All right, sweet. Sorry about that. My mic wasn't working. I just had a quick thing. So I've been here since Nightwing. I've gone through the rough drops at the beginning to where they've gone now. They've gotten really good. But one thing but today's drop is I think it's a much bigger deal than I feel like you guys think it is about the different times for the different clocks. Because I know there's people in the same household that had different times, and that can't be due to location to the server. So like those milliseconds, those seconds, they make a huge difference. So like my suggestion would be, can we have like the buy button up first? And just like before, you could click it, but it wouldn't let you buy anything. It would actually cancel you out. You have to click something else to cancel out and go back to it. Can we have something like that where it's not just waiting on the button to load sort of thing?
Yeah, that is actually something that we were talking about with the development team the other day, that, maybe we have the buy now button visible, and then we move the countdown, over to the left of it. So it's always there, but obviously if you click it too early, it's not going to allow you to complete the purchase. So, as I mentioned, this is the very first iteration. I think it's improved things a lot in terms of clock gate. Is there room to improve? 100%. Are we going to be doing that? 100%. So, I really appreciate your suggestions and feedback. And yeah, we definitely are always considering things that we roll out and how we can improve that. And that was one of the talking points that we had already sort of identified as a potential option.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, friend. I had a quick question, if that's okay.
Go for it.
First of all, the CAPTCHA thing is a nightmare for accessibility. It assumes that people don't have dyslexia difference. So just throwing that out there. Also, when listing an item for sale on the marketplace or when placing something in the showroom, it works great unless you have more than like 50 collectibles. Then you're scrolling endlessly to try and find things. Is there any way that we can incorporate the select by brands maybe first as a first step before going into the collectibles, just to make sorting and placing things a little more easier for as people get bigger and bigger collections?
Yes, absolutely. So that feature that you mentioned there is actually going to be rolled out as part of the accessories. What we've done now is very similar to on the My Collectibles page, where you can click the sort of the bubble tags across the top to help filter your content. When you're in the showroom, number one, we're going to reorder the list in there, so your latest purchase is at the beginning, because who wants to scroll right to the very end? Because they obviously want to put their new one in there first. So that's the first thing we'll do. And then also in that little pop-up panel, when you're adding something into the showroom, we are also adding these sort of brand bubbles across the top, just to allow users to make it easier, as you say, Brock, to to filter down to find the content that you want. That the panel that's there now is a feature of the sort of the bygone past, where we're like, hey, hopefully we get 100 users in the platform and they buy like 5 collectibles each. So yes, we're still playing a little bit of catch up on the huge number of users and the massive number of collectibles that people own. So definitely on top of that. So thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. And did you just confirm indoor houseplants soon?
Did I say soon? I'm pretty sure I'm careful with those words.
Soon. Sorry, I just heard you say soon. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, guys, as always.
Thanks, mate. Kyle, I know you had a question a little bit earlier, something about music NFTs too, and then I'll bring a couple more.
Yeah, Frank Sabatka from the stream said, is there any plans to release the music NFTs soon? And if so, can you give an update on that by chance?
I don't really have too much to say on music. I mean, it is something that we have looked into. Yeah, I mean, it's on our radar for sure. We've been talking to people, absolutely, but how are we going to implement that? What the experience is going to be? We're still kind of working through that.
Gotcha. And is there any other 12 out of 10 announcements planned?
I think we made a company rule that we don't to announce a 12 out of 10 until it happens.
All right, thank you.
I will never be using a ranking system again based on the last one.
Yes.
All right. Orion VeVe, and then Tom, and then Mr. VeVe Vault, if we want to go in that order, guys.
Well, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
May I talk?
Yeah, go for it, mate. You jumped in there.
Thank you very much, because I'm waiting for a while. First of all, English is not my main language, so if I make any mistake, I'm sorry for now.
No worries.
My first question is, there are lots of flippers, and it's normal. I got it. There's the business. However, some people like me got some sets for a while, and then nowadays, because of Clockgate or another things, I don't know, maybe Lao Mint, we cannot get anymore. For example, me, I cannot get anything after April, so that I can get it. However, Rhys before mentioned that Clockgate never never an advantage, but I never tried that until last drops, which was hoverboards, yeah, and then it's worked. I got all the set. It was a kind of advantage, and I got it. And now today, me and my partner checked that our timers are completely different, and that's kind of issue again. And I don't know. I got that part also in database. You can check everything. There is not that much bot users and emulators. However, can do something like erase this problem completely from people's mind and put some kind of 2FA or something for we will be sure about that. Yeah, impossible after that. I can't kind of like erase all hesitations. I don't know how to explain that part. And I got the second question
let me answer the first question first. Otherwise, I'll forget. Yeah, I mean, we've already covered a few things already around the capture and around the the first iteration of the RIP Clockgate, and we will be making some modifications and improvements on that over the next couple of weeks. And I think the other thing to consider is that if you were here back in the OG days, and we're only talking like maybe 2 or 3 months back, there was considerably less competition back then. You might have been dealing with maybe tens of thousands of users all competing for the same drops, rather than what we have now is potentially hundreds of thousands of users. So really a lot of the sort of assumptions that I see coming up in Twitter really come down to one thing, and that is supply and demand. The demand is growing more and more and more over time, and the supply is, it's still kind of remaining the same. I mean, as you guys have probably noticed, Dave and I have dialed back some of the edition runs that we're doing at the moment. We will see higher edition runs with some of the brands that we have coming up, which will give users a lot more opportunity. But, it's a real balance in the collectible world. Things like, Frank Kozak, Ron English, I mean, we don't want to be flooding the market too much with these collectibles. So I guess just to summarize and to answer your question, we are always working on the fairness to make it more accessible to everybody. And so those improvements will come over the next couple of weeks and more than likely into the future.
Thank you for that. And my second question is about, it's like I'm keeping my set and I want to get some kind of promotion for that, maybe bonus, I don't know. For example, Cryptkins, I got all the set, and in the future there will be, I hope there will be new launch for series 2 or 3 something, and there are another people flipping those all the time for get some profit. I got that part also, but I'm a collector first of all, and then I want to see some benefit about it. Like, but I know the Master Collector program. I heard about that. I read about that. It's about like some kind of pay to win. So, in my point,
it's not a pay to win.
I see. So, in my point, like if I hold that set, for example, for 3 months and I never flip that, can I get some kind of advantage from those, or it will never be?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of different types of collectors out there. You've got the flippers, you've got the casual collectors, and then you've got the collectors, like myself and yourself, who love to get the set. For me, the reward is having the set. I mean, I've managed to get everything, and that's great. I've got that little badge on my profile, and in my showroom, I can display all of the collectibles in that entire set, and then I can brag to everyone else that, hey, sorry for you, but I managed to get the full set. So, for me, the reward is inherent in owning the set. However, within the Master Collector program, there will be some reward system around sets. Again, I'm not going to say too much about it now until we actually release our article on the Master Collector and how it's all going to work. But we have to be very careful. Again, when we're developing these kind of features, we have to be very holistic in our approach, because there are only certain people that have the opportunity to own an entire set. So if we were to reward those people too much, it then gives a certain sector of the VeVe community perhaps an advantage over others. So at the end, it comes down to you own the whole set, and that is the inherent value of what it is. If you want to flip that whole set, then obviously that's on you. So yeah, I mean, in summary, there will be a small advantage to holding a set, but again, we can't be too unfair on other users who potentially are not in that position.
Thank you very much for all those answers. Have a wonderful day over there.
Thank you.
Well,
hi, Dan. Hi, Rhys.
Hey, mate. Go for it.
This is Orion. Been listening to you guys forever. This is my first time actually coming on to ask a question. I just wanted to make an observation and then a question. The observation is I noticed that if I have my Notify Me on set, that the buy now is delayed by a couple seconds in order for it to refresh the Notify Me. So what I tend to do is I do Notify Me, put it into my wish list, and then take the Notify Me off so the buy now shows up right away. So I think there's a delay with the Notify, and I just wanted to share that because I heard Hello K say he had some issues with that. The second thing is I was wondering, could you elaborate a bit on the 2.5% that is charged in the secondary? And at one point, I think that was going towards buyback, but now maybe it's going towards the licensors, which I think is great. It's going to motivate them to want to list with you guys. But I was just wondering, just for clarity on numbers and tokenomics, which direction that's going in.
Thanks for the observation. I will get the devs to double check that to see if there is any delay caused around the notify me button. So thanks for that. Now with the secondary market fee, it's very straightforward. It's basically 2.5% of the value in OMI gets burnt. That is all on the VeVe side. Right now, we haven't introduced any licensor royalties, although that will be coming in the future. So it's actually just very, very simple. 2.5% transaction fee gets removed in gems, and then 2.5% of the OMI value gets burned.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And thanks for being here, by the way. This is great. I really enjoyed listening to these, and I'll step down.
No worries. Thanks again for your support.
Thanks, mate. Tom, if you want to go, and then VeVe Vault, and then we'll probably say goodbye to Dan, I would think.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you going? So I just really had a question just around the accounts. So you can see after the drop that there has been a number of messages sent on Telegram groups for guys that have like 5 on sale, and then you can see that there have been lots of kind of cheap multiple accounts. So I'm just thinking, with KYC potentially coming with the money transfer side, could that potentially be incorporated into maybe the account creation side as well? So there is kind of like that, similar to like an exchange where you have to, have your identity verified before you kind of make an account. I just feel that could be potentially helping bring those numbers down of, one person that has multiple accounts that just sweeps up.
Yeah, and like I said earlier in the conversation, while there is a portion of the community that might be setting up multiple accounts, it is very minimal. In terms of the, sorry, I just had an email notification come in there. Just remind me the question was about again.
So just really on, I know you're looking at bringing in KYC with
that's right.
money transfer license.
With KYC, the real issue with having KYC at the point of account creation is basically that it's a real barrier to entry. I mean, anyone in here who's in the crypto game that knows about, that knows about signing up to an exchange, they all are very aware that you need to sign up with KYC, you need to do a photo of your passport. But if you're an average collector or an average user, that can be a real barrier to entry. So it's more than likely not something that we're going to introduce.
Okay, that's all good. And I love the work, by the way. The Al Khan interview is just brilliant, and obviously the Marvel announcement as well. It's hopefully really good days ahead.
Yeah, thank you. All right, last question.
Hey, can you guys hear me this time?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, I do have a question myself, but I have a couple questions from the voice chat discussion channel. Doyle wanted to know if you guys are going to have a virtual or physical presence at the October's Comic-Con that's coming up.
Still deciding on that one. So yeah, watch this space.
Okay, I got it. And then there was another guy in the chat who said that he's been locked out of his account for a few weeks now, and he got an email from somebody from VeVe on Friday saying that they're investigating, but he hasn't heard anything back yet, and he was hoping we could ask him about that. Maybe you guys would have an update for him.
I'm not even in the support kind of team, so there's really not much I can say without any details. But if his account's been investigated, there'll be a reason around that, and they just need to take their time. We are very, very strict on our terms and conditions, and if it looks like someone is trying to abuse the system, then yeah, your account's going to get investigated, and we do that for the protection of all of our users.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, I have one question. It's more of a comment that you guys could maybe take back to the developers. So when you're transferring an NFT to another user, that search function right there, it's pretty bad. Like, for example, if I'm trying to transfer to a user named Phoenix with 2 X's on the end, and I type her name in, you cannot find it. If I try to send it to a guy named The Real Rick Ross and you type his name in, you can't find it. But if you go letter by letter, when you get to the I, his name is like 4th down on the list and you can click it. So there's no scroll bar and the search function doesn't seem to be working properly.
100%. That is actually already a known bug, which is in the pipeline at the moment. I'm not a developer, but something to do with the search indexing in the back. But yeah, we're on it.
Thanks, guys.
No worries. Just on that, I always kind of suggest to people, like, you can always screenshot your QR code and send that across if that's the easiest way to populate it on your end if you're trying to send collectibles to other people too. And Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to do one more just quickly.
Okay, sweet. Let me bring one more up. Wubba Wubba, if you're there, mate, if you've got a question you want to put to Dan, feel free. May need to unmute your microphone if you can hear us there. Or...
So we might be having technical issues. Let's move on to the next one.
Yep. Emoji, if you've just come up, if you've got a question to ask, mate.
Hi. First, I just want to thank you guys. You guys are great with everything that you're doing and just being here for us and to answer questions. I kind of have a question because, I love the app. I love the features. Sometimes I'll randomly show it to people I don't even know because I'm so excited. But one thing that kind of like I was wondering if would be worked on is a lot of times when I show it to other people, because they're unfamiliar with like the way AR works, they may like act as if it was a typical app where they expanded or touch things and move things. Basically, I was wondering if like a lock feature is anything that would be looked at, because a lot of times like I would show it to people and then all my collectibles will be moved around before I could tell them to stop.
Yeah, I'd have to have a think about that one. I mean, it's quite a big feature. So, whenever we assess these kind of features, it really comes down to, how much of the community it's going to impact. And so just so I'm correct in understanding, you're saying that you'll let someone go into your showroom and wander around, and then they mess everything up and then give it back to you, and you're like, thanks for that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. To be honest, I haven't really come across that yet. So I'd have to have a bit of a think about that and just whether it's a wide-reaching enough of a problem for us to sort of implement. In the meantime, you could just say, "Hey, man, walk around my showroom, but don't touch anything."
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm not on time, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Actually, can I just add a question to that, Dan, while we've got you here? I have a few people, they obviously give their phone to their kids, and then they live in fear that their kids are going to accidentally list their items in the market or something like that.
Yeah.
So I know some people have requested, I guess like a child lock almost. Maybe you could toggle on and off your own access to the market or something like that. Is that something that we've kind of considered?
Yes, absolutely. I have definitely considered some sort of like, how would you say it? Like limited access kind of feature in the app, where exactly as you say, Rhys, you may be able to go and toggle on like kids mode or limited access mode. And actually, to be honest, just to the point that Emoji was saying, that is something that we could potentially look into that as well. Especially now that we're starting to bring in, some of the kids brands. I'm sure many of you saw the announcement with NGA and bringing in the LOL dolls. It's more than likely that we are going to see a lot more parents and kids interacting with the app together. So yes, I will add that one into the ever-growing backlog of awesome features to add.
Perfect. I think people will be pretty happy about that. I get concerned messages all the time. Just saying, don't give your phone to the kid never really works. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, on that note, I better jump back. Work is pressing. But yeah, honestly, thanks again, everyone, to jumping in here. I mean, I'm always just so grateful, 200 plus people coming in every week just to hear us talk. Alex, sorry, I hogged all the limelight. Didn't mean to. I'll bounce out now. But the rest of you guys have an awesome day. And yeah, stay tuned for next week's drop.
Thank you, good sir. Really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, while we continue, and we have Alex here, let's pepper him. Who's got questions about marketing? Let's get to know him.
I hope you all are really ready to talk about the finer points of Mexican food and 70s funk music. That's why I'm here.
Now we're on the topic. What's your favorite meal, my friend?
Well, being of Mexican descent, comfort food for me is Mexican food. So I live in Los Angeles, which means I have access to a great breadth of Mexican cuisine, namely tacos. So I think I'm going to have to go with tacos. I mean, it's an easy, simple answer, but it is the tried and true winner of the greater Mexican cuisine.
It's hard to argue with. It is hard to argue with. Thank you for that insight. Guys, if anyone's on the floor, I
Sure.
believe maybe a question for me or Alex, and then we'll go.
Yeah, I got a quick question. Yeah, as far as the marketing, when can we expect it to kind of fully, launch? I know I realize there's like YouTube ads and that thing going, but can you kind of tell us a little bit more detail about like kind of what you're going to be over and things like that as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously I can't go into specifics when we're going to launch specific campaigns because they may be around, either new IP or, certain announcements that we have coming up are, drops that we're trying to plan for a specific time in the future. But yeah, I'm going to be leading all of the, branding, marketing, tone, voice, cadence of social posting, and then, eventually into larger kind of scale marketing programs such as, like you said, paid marketing on either social or YouTube. Hopefully we can have some larger kind of partnership type deals. Those are all things I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around. I think one of the things to note is that we do have some pretty exciting stuff coming up that we will be looking to kind of cast a wider net for in terms of bringing people onto the platform. And the reason why we haven't kind of like pressed start on the marketing button, so to speak, is that, we've had, one drop a week, maybe 2 drops a week, and they sell out instantly. So, we want to get to a point where we have plenty of IP and plenty of drops happening at a regular clip so that we are not driving people to an experience where they can't buy anything at retail and have to, buy something aftermarket,
Gotcha.
I think there's a lot of excitement from the current community, and I love that. And I think there's really what's going to make this exciting for people that are new to the platform as they start to integrate into the community. But right now, we don't want to just like, pull a bunch of levers and get a bunch of people on the platform and there's like, nothing to buy.
Yeah, and Taps Trades was asking kind of in the stream here, can we expect it like after Comic-Con or like as far as the marketing, button to be pushed?
Well, I don't want to call it a marketing button. It's definitely not that. There's some careful planning that's going to go into IP specific campaigns and things like that. But yeah, around Comic-Con-ish, I think is a good kind of marker to put in the ground in terms of where we're looking to, get outside of just organic social. Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thanks for answering that question.
I got a question for Alex.
Shoot.
Hey, Alex. So I know a lot of us in the community have been looking at things like certain movie drops to align with VeVe drops and things of that nature. Do you plan on doing that moving forward, trying to align some of the major happenings in entertainment with, certain specific VeVe drops?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the goal. I don't think we have anything in the pipeline right now that we can speak about that is going to be day and date with like a movie release. But we're always looking for those opportunities in which there is going to be a drop that coincides with a big, cultural event, whether that be a movie drop, sporting event, comic book arc release, or whatever the case may be. I think we're always going to look for those synergies in terms of marketing dates or market drop dates that is going to help us kind of get the word out and get more people on the platform and just fold into the general marketing of that IP.
Gotcha. Because I think that a lot of us kind of were expecting that, and we haven't seen that yet. So that's kind of where that question comes from. And I guess my second question would be, so what's your favorite VeVe vertical at this point?
VeVe vertical, as in like which brand, or like my favorite collectible?
Yeah. Either or.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look. I think you heard Dan mention this morning. I was really bummed out that I didn't get my Ghost Trap. As somebody, as a child of the '80s, you know, Ghostbusters was and still is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I struck out on both Slimer and Ghost Trap. So, look, I'll be looking forward to any more Ghostbusters related drops in the future. But I think as far as things that I own. I'm really into my Marty hoverboard, and I hope, you know, fingers crossed that you know, that those will become like rideable in the metaverse, in the VeVeverse, you know, at some point in the future. But yeah, I think hoverboard's probably you know, also because it came out of, you know, similar year as Ghostbusters. Back to the Future is definitely one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
Hey, I've got a question for Alex actually. So Rhys and I did an AMA a little while ago, and the question that I kept getting hounded on by the community was when marketing, specifically not just marketing for VeVe on the VeVe side, but also marketing for the OMI token, because I'm aware that you know, in the past Google was quite tight with the kind of crypto marketing with the ads, but they've relaxed their policies quite recently. So are you going to be the person who's leading the way in terms of marketing on the OMI side? And if so, what kind of forms might that marketing take?
Well, I'm very happy to announce that I will not be involved in any way with not to say that I'm not excited about it. Obviously, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, but I'm specifically focused on VeVe and the digital collectibles and building the VeVe brand moving forward. I'll leave OMI to Rhys in the Ecomi team, but I will be focused specifically on VeVe.
OMI side is definitely my side of the equation. You know, as we list on new exchanges, they obviously come with all their campaigns, things like that. When it comes to Google relaxing their advertising rules, like I don't think you're just going to see the OMI token plastered on a Google ad. You know, we really benefit from the fact that we have such a big user base now with VeVe, and obviously that's going to continue to grow. So a lot of the OMI, you know, I hesitate to use the word marketing as such, but once we've integrated OMI more fully into the app, it means that we can just introduce it to an entire user base that may not be aware of it in a very targeted way, right? Because we've already got people using VeVe for the experience that it provides, and then you're giving them another way to supplement that experience. You know, whether that, you know, using the OMI token gives them an advantage over you know, the exchange rates, for example, or the app store fees, or whatever happens to be. There's enough sort of incentive mechanisms we can build in there. Then you add to the fact that some items in the store you will only be able to buy in OMI, for example. So, you know, I think that I'm not expecting to be rolling out a traditional style marketing plan, you know, where we would run Google ads for the token. Basically because it's just not necessary, right? We've already got a user base that's building on one side of the company with VeVe, and it gives us a lot of advantage and opportunity to market directly to those people. You know, but to supplement that, you know, we've got influencer campaigns and obviously marketing campaigns that come with the exchanges. They always run their trading comps, all those kind of things. So they'll all be part of the story as well. But yeah, I'm not, at least at this point, it's not in the horizon to just advertise the token on Google or things like that.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Well, more on the kind of campaign side. So this week was obviously a really big week, especially for myself, since we got to be, I guess, the first like non-official Ecomi people to announce the Ghostbusters drop, and reaction was generally, I would say, like 99% really positive. It's like unique, new, and people were really kind of generally enjoying it. But there were people who were confused as to why. So I'm going to phrase it in like in nicer terms, but they were confused as to why Ecomi let community members announce the drop as opposed to leveraging their kind of vast resources of marketing. So I think it's best if they hear it from you as to why that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Some people just got butthurt because someone else found out before them, right? And I think that's okay to say. Now, as we've said in the last, I think Dan mentioned it a week or two ago, we are starting an ambassador program, right? And the initial phases of that to bring in the people that are openly and publicly supporting us in the community. And that goes from all of our community mods to people that are active on Twitter, you guys creating content on YouTube, all of these kind of things. And it's always been a very integral part of our journey and really the story that we're all creating to be involved in the community, right? I mean, we do these AMAs, everybody's interviewing each other on everybody's channels, everyone's creating incredible content, and because of the core that has been built there, you know, it really means that we haven't had to dive too far into spending money on marketing. So enabling that for the people that are disseminating information is just a way for us to give back and to say thank you. This was the first time we tried it, and it was actually just by complete chance. Wannabe Champ reached out to me and said that you guys were doing a stream. Was there anything we wanted to share? And we thought, all right, well, let's give this a go. And as you said, you know, it was received really well by 99% of people. To the 1% of people that got upset about it, I mean, I'm honestly a bit befuddled by it. Like, the Ghost Trap has been listed in the store for months. Everybody knew that it was coming at some point. So I don't think that anybody was disadvantaged by not being a part of that. It was really just a way for us to say thank you to you guys, give you something cool to share, and we're going to continue to do things like that moving forward because we have such an incredible network of people now. You know, from a company standpoint, from a community standpoint, it just makes sense to leverage that and to continue to involve you guys as much as possible in this journey.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Who else we got up here? Someone got a question for Alex while we're here, I believe.
Yeah,
or
I got a question if nobody does, or I believe. Do you have a question?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just go.
I just wanted to know what type of strategies, marketing strategies you guys have in plan, if you're able to share. I know you can't mention any sort of celebrities or influencers, but what would be like a type of strategy for, you know, like the Met Ambassador program, for example?
Yeah, so I mean, like we've just did with, say, premiering that video. You know, this down the line, this isn't going to happen in the next few weeks, but as we really start to flesh this out, you know, being able to maybe give some key influencers a collectible so they can show it off, you know, and or actually display it in AR, really start to build the awareness on that front. You know, I don't personally use TikTok, but it seems to be where the kids are these days. You know, and that kind of content is really, really viral. It's really easy to share around, things like that. So we're very blessed that we have a product that people really enjoy interacting with. It is very visual and visually appealing. So it lets us leverage platforms like Instagram or TikTok to really show these things off. So I guess that's kind of the future intention of it, to be able to use our network to disseminate information, but also to be able to catch the attention of other people who may not have heard of VeVe or seen anything like it. And then obviously with the design of the platform, it's very easy to then onboard that person because all they have to do is download an app. They don't need to understand crypto or wallets or keys or any of that stuff that is still a barrier to entry for most NFT projects.
Is there any plans to use any celebrities in any of the marketing anytime soon, or is that somewhere further down the line?
I'd say further down the line, for the same reason that we haven't, you know, pushed the proverbial play button on the marketing. There's no point having a big name celebrity promote the app or something and then have these users come in and not be able to do anything. So I think that all comes down when the system is more refined and we have more content available.
Okay,
Yeah,
makes
to that
sense.
point.
Thank you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So to that point, yes. I mean, we're always going to look for those opportunities where we can have synergies with, whether it's celebrities or well-known influencers or the artists themselves of the actual digital collectible. It's always going to be part of the plan in rolling anything out that we have on the platform and the drop schedule. As for the proverbial marketing button, I don't want to get too caught up. I know that's kind of come up a couple of times. There is no, marketing button, so to speak. There's me getting my feet wet, but everything that I've been doing and Noah's been doing, since he started, has been, marketing. It's under the bucket of, have information, disseminate information, make sure people are aware of the drops and the scheduling, and work with the community to build excitement around the drops and share their excitement once they do procure those collectibles. Continuing to build out that presence across all social platforms is really kind of the short-term project or priority for me. And then, once we have a tried and true kind of schedule of drops, and where we're a regular schedule of drops, where we're doing once, twice, maybe 3 times a week, who knows, then we can start to kind of put in place, some lead time stuff that we were going to be having campaigns around, because right now, as they've been happening, and I'll be completely honest with everybody here, these drops that have happened in the last 2 weeks since I've been here have happened fairly quickly. Like, we find out about them from the licensor, we get the sign off from the licensors, and then it's like, okay, hurry up and go. And so we got to just figure things out as we go. The goal is obviously to have as much lead time as possible so that we can actually plan out a robust marketing campaign around each of those IPs. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, everything that we do on a day-to-day basis on social or YouTube with the videos, we're going to continue to build out each of those strategies on each of those verticals.
Thanks, guys.
No worries. And as Alex just kind of alluded to there, I think part of that process is really just getting the community used to where to look for that information. Like, it's at the moment we kind of release the Medium article 24 hours before the drop. Once we're in a bit more of the swing of things, maybe you can expect to see them a week before or 2 weeks before, and they'll always release at the same time on the same day so that you do know where to look. Whereas, for the last few weeks, like, maybe David Yu is the first one to drop something on his Instagram. Then you see it on our Twitter. Then you see it on VeVe Instagram. It's been a bit all over the place. So I know that Alex and Noah are really working on just refining that structure a bit and that rollout so that it is more consistent across all of our channels as well. Who else have we got up here? Tom, and then Josh, if you guys have some questions, and then Fav, P-word. Maybe we'll go in that order.
Oh, no, I'm good. I just stuck in here. You can kick me out.
Okay, sweet, man. Yeah, I might send you back to the audience just so we know. So Josh, 7291, same deal. If you got a question, how about it?
Hey, I got a question, but it's not about marketing. It's more towards the new FA Robin from today. So you already have an FA Robin, as I'm sure you guys are aware of. Are you guys gonna add anything in the description of the new FA Robin to make a difference between the two of them for new users that maybe don't understand the comic books behind it?
Yeah, I did ask about this actually when Dan said it was getting an upgrade, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, we have a Robin. What do you mean? But yeah, as you've just alluded to, it is technically a different character from the comics and that kind of thing. I don't know if an extra descriptor will be added, maybe into the bio of it, just to say like where that particular Robin came from. Assuming based on your question, it's not there already. So yeah, I'll bring that up with the team just so we can help to differentiate those a bit.
Okay. Do you think we could see something like his name changing from Robin to Damian Wayne as his character, or do you think it's going to stay Robin?
I would imagine that the character name would stay the same. I think the descriptor, if anything, the little bio piece would change. And I brought up the same thing with Dan as well. So we can, there's obviously some implications there in terms of, changing names on things, obviously. But if it's just the bio and we just kind of put a little more of context, why it's considered a first appearance or who that character actually is, Damian Wayne, for instance. I think if that doesn't have any implications in terms of the value of the piece outside of just calling it first appearance, then I think we should definitely look into updating that.
Awesome, thanks guys, appreciate it.
No worries at all. Fav P word, if you're up. Yep.
Oh yeah, okay. I love everything about VeVe right now at the moment. I had a shout out to Dr. Roxo, and I'm a huge funk fan also, to Alex. Okay, when Death Clock then. I was wondering when would VeVe actually put out their first collectible from their department in development? Like, do you guys have a VeVe man in the cut, or is it going to be like a table? I'm going to buy the table if that's the first thing you guys put out, but I was just wondering, did you guys have a timeline for when you guys could put out your first product?
It's actually just going to be my face floating around. No real timeline. The intention isn't really to put out our own branded products. Oh, sorry, Trevor's just messaged me. Trevor's face too. He can be a collectible too. The intention is obviously to showcase and highlight the IP of these licensors. There will be unbranded things like the accessories, stuff like that is available. It is in development right now. The first thing is to roll out the next version of the showroom, and then I think Trevor is really trying to refine the ways that the accessory system will work. I think I've heard him describe it as building it in or something like that. I might even see if he's around, if he wants to jump in and answer that question for you. But look, we've talked about some VeVe branded type stuff, maybe the VeVe logo, some other bits and pieces, but I don't have a timeline on that kind of thing yet.
I'd like to go on record and request an Alcon bust for the as the first VeVe collectible.
I think we can submit that. That sounds great to me. Trevor wants to go first. Trevor, do you want to join us in this conversation? If you can hear us, mate, come join the stage. And in the meantime, Wubba Wubba, if you've got a question.
Yeah. Regarding marketing, I just want to say I love the way you guys interact with the community. It's perfect. So don't take anything away from that while you introduce new marketing strategy. In terms of the question, it's about listing NFT under OMI. Is there any concern in regards to the volatility of OMI? Let's say if I list it, especially under auction for 10 OMI, 3 days later, OMI may be $20 more or $20 less. Is that going to be a problem, or it's list under your own risk thing?
No, not really. On one hand, I think we've really talked about, at some point you'll be able to choose the duration of your auction, which would minimize any sort of price fluctuation. But ultimately, you're transacting peer-to-peer, so it would be up to you to set what OMI price you want. Now, if the dollar value of OMI goes up exponentially, then it would be up to you to maybe list at a lower price in OMI if you want to sell that collectible. But at that point, it's peer-to-peer. You have full control over the prices you set, and it will be your responsibility to adjust those prices if necessary.
So is it going to be, I want to list $20 worth of OMI? Is that the case?
No, you list in an OMI amount. So you may list for 1,000 OMI, and because you're transacting in OMI, that doesn't change. It's only the dollar value based on the spot price on the markets that would fluctuate. But in terms of an OMI transaction, 1,000 OMI is 1,000 OMI.
Got it. Thank you. And if I may, can I ask another question regarding auction? Um, if the bidder that won the auction doesn't pay after 1 day, is there any way you can add, for example, give the second bidder an offer to buy it?
Yeah, so I think the next phase of the auction upgrades to roll out is an escrow, where to place a bid, you actually have to put, say, 10 gems into an escrow account, right? Anyone who wants to participate in the auction has to contribute 10 gems. If you don't win the auction, you get your 10 gems back. If the person who did win the auction doesn't pay, then whoever was selling it will at least get that 10 gems. I don't know if we're going to build in a way for the second and then the third and then the fourth person to have the option to buy it. But, you know, if that's the best solution at the time, then obviously the dev team will try to integrate that too.
Thank you.
No problem. And welcome, Trevor. Good to have you here. I know someone just asked a question about the VeVe branded sort of products and things like that. But while we've got you, I mean, do you want to give some people some insight into Showroom version 2, what we've upgraded, and if there is any updates on potential VeVe products, accessories, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I guess. Also, first of all, Alex, welcome. It's nice to meet you. Excited. The Los Angeles-based contingent of VeVe grows every day, so this is very cool. And I guess to answer the question, yeah, so we're working on showroom updates. We only updated everything, so very excited for people to see the changes we made. It's more than just the corner. No longer crap in it. So yeah, I'm excited for those that to be like the whole rollout with that. As far as accessories, it's something that we're digging into. It's more than just what do accessories look like, but how are they delivered, all that kind of content, that the systems surrounding that content are being designed as well. And we got some really cool, exciting ideas for that, and I'm sure those will be discussed in the future as that starts coming along. And so it's hard to say. It's hard to go into too much detail on what those will be, but we have some pretty clear, some pretty interesting like creative vision for what accessories will look like, how you would be decorating your showrooms beyond just NFTs.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kansu. I just brought a couple more people up to the stage as well. So now we've got Trevor and Alex. Guys, if you've got any questions in that realm, I believe. Are you waiting to ask something there?
Yeah, I know that you guys have more like collectible IP that you want to release as NFTs, but since we're bringing accessories and furniture and houseplants and whatnot, can we also expect like designer furniture, designer appliances, these kinds of things?
That is a very good question. To my knowledge, it's not really part of the conversation, purely because it's not really the vertical we're really accessing. But I mean, anything's possible in the future. You know, if there's demand for designer couches or things like that, or they become items that people want, then maybe. But yeah, I don't know if in the digital space people will want to collect or, you know, pay a premium for a designer couch over an ordinary one, unless it has like some specific utility or function. Trevor, or Alex, any opinions on that?
I mean, I have opinions. I'm not sure. I would probably be speaking out of turn, but you know, I think if you know, the Da Vinci thing is any indication, you know, expanding into artwork and, you know, fine luxury designer brands and things like that. If we have a relationship with those companies, I'd love to see us expand into, you know, things that aren't necessarily considered a digital collectible, for instance, like a statuette, or, you know, I'd love to see more in the art realm, things that we can hang on our showroom walls. You know, is that a handbag from Louis Vuitton? I don't know. I mean, I would love to see that. I would, again, I'm speaking way out of turn.
Yeah. I think items like that, there's definitely potential, because I guess they do still have some collectability about them. I guess I'm referring more to like, well, I personally don't know anyone that collects couches.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like Memphis group furniture. If you guys haven't seen, take a look. But yeah, I mean, anything that Daniel Arsham does, he has some really good.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think I've also seen Tokidoki do some collaborations with Cartel, Kartel, I think the brand is, and they do actually do some really cool branded furniture. You know, it's got Tokidoki characters all over them, things like that. So, look, I won't rule it out. I guess there's always potential for that kind of product vertical as well.
I'll jump in and speak out of turn. I totally agree with Alex. I think I think it's a very cool and interesting space. Again, it's questions beyond just what is it that we want to put out in that kind of world of like furniture, whether it's stuff we've created or a like theme to like a design, an existing design. But it's also beyond like not just what is it, but how we would roll it out. Is it something that we would like? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. So it's hard to like speculate and give you a definitive answer, but it's certainly a space I think we'd be excited for. I agree with Alex. I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, and to that point, I think those discussions are ongoing because we are so new in the space still. Even though to everybody here in the community, NFTs, everybody knows what an NFT is, but to a large portion of the public, they've never heard of it. Like I'm tried to explain my new job to my family at 4th of July, and like nobody could wrap their head around it. No matter how basically I explained it. But there's going to be still a lot of education to go around, and then I think looking to the future where we have to fill a home in the metaverse. What are we going to fill that home with? Is it just collectibles? Is it maybe furniture? Is it more artwork? What is it? Those are all questions that I think that we're continuing to research and answer and ask ourselves.
Yeah, quickly just to finish off, yeah, additional to that, like if you look at the Supreme collectibles, they have very arbitrary objects, whether it be like punching bags, matches, tables, wrenches, and I'm sure these are things that people would still want to buy in the virtual world. So something to consider, but thanks for letting me know. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and look, as these two have just said, I think that will continue to evolve as people's awareness and comfortability in the digital space continues to evolve. I think we all agree that that's where we're heading. That's where the world is heading. So yeah, I'd say that it'll continue to be built in as we go. Who else have we got up here? Austin, I know you've been waiting. If you want to jump in, and then Old Crypto King, if you want to go next.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. You were cutting in and out a little bit there, but I think just hold that button or do what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm just weird to push to talk. So my question is to Alex regarding, because we're having like children and kids coming onto the platform. Is there like attention span? And I know VeVe and Ecomi are all about the experience, and I know they're just starting to get more interactive things and like. But like, how are you going to keep their attention span, keep them on the app, and keep them active? Because currently, like, I don't. If a kid goes into the room and just sees an NFT, will they stay on there long? I'm not sure. What type of marketing strategies are you looking for, or are you waiting for more features to come? I know there's like Brat stalls possibly, or this LOL surprise, and like maybe that could be a customization kind of thing coming. That's what I'm suspecting. If you could share any light, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very clear what the age group, target age group for LOL is, right? It's just past. It's like toddler, essentially 6 to 8, I believe is the age range. I know I have two nieces, ages 5 and 7, that are super into it, but I wouldn't be able to hold their attention on a VeVe app and trying to build a showroom, I don't think, without some extra gameplay that is super simple. So I think really what we're kind of going for here is a way for parents to share this experience with their children, right? And there's also a number of restrictions around the types of marketing we can do to kids of that age group, under 13. Depending where in the world, I think, driving them to install an app and then to buy things is, it could be problematic and sometimes a big no-no. Without the parents' involvement. So really what I think the initial phases of having something like LOL on board or Bratz dolls would be more as a shared experience for parents and from families as a whole, as opposed to, handing a kid a phone and letting them play with an LOL doll for, a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Can you hear me?
Yep, go for it.
I know you talked a little bit about the next phase of the marketplace, but I was just wondering if peer-to-peer trading is going to be in that.
Not initially, no. So that the next phase I'm talking about, there's an article on the Ecomi blog that talked about the Auction Overhaul. It would have been the last time when we updated. There was, I think it's now, if you're a new account, you can't participate in the market for the first 72 hours. And that's also when we implemented the punishment that if you didn't pay, then you were locked out of the market for 72 hours. So the next phase of that rollout is the gem escrow thing. So at least if someone doesn't pay, you're not completely disadvantaged as a seller. Peer-to-peer trading, assuming you're talking about directly trading collectibles. Last time I spoke to Dan about this, it is being developed, the direct trade sort of thing. And I hope I don't speak out of turn, but to my knowledge, it will be more of a say you and I communicate and make a deal on a collectible, then I'll be able to list it in the market, but you'll be the only person that is able to submit an offer for it or see that listing there. Whether it's like you enter a code or something to be able to access that. So there is definitely peer-to-peer trading in the works. I don't know exactly when it will roll out, and then the future iteration of that would then, potentially bring in the ability to trade my one Batman for your 3 Mermacornos or whatever, so we can kind of actually form those deals there rather than just one for one. But the first iteration will be the direct trading mechanism. I'll next time, maybe next week, we can hit Dan and see if there's any sort of updates on that.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Deep, or Mr. Yeah, go for it, Mr. McComb.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we have you there.
It would be cool if we could combine collectibles to create another one, not available to buy in store, not in form of accessories like real crafting. For example, if you manage to get Infinity Gauntlet and all gems, you can craft finished Infinity Gauntlet. And you lose collectibles using craft. What do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually something that Immutable X can enable. And from a contract point of view, normal ERC 721s, that's the contract standard for a normal NFT. Then you have ERC 1155, which is a composable standard. So that would mean let's say you have a Superman and then you get a golden cape, for example, and you can combine those two collectibles. And then it's, you can choose to then sell that collectible on with that. Hang on, I'm just going to mute someone here. Yeah, that's better. You can sell that collectible on, and it comes with the accessories or the attachments that you've given it, say that extra sword or extra cape or things like that. So it's definitely in the works. It's definitely something that we will see in the future, being able to customize the appearance of your collectibles as well as as well as actually own them.
Thank you. And as a closing statement, I know that you can't talk about licenses, but I just want to share my personal wish to have League of Legends and Dota collectibles. I would be very glad to have them. Thank you.
No worries. I'm sure Trevor would be glad to have them too.
Yes, I would.
All right. Now, Macom, if you want to go for it, mate.
Oh yeah, thank you. No, I just got one for Alex, but before I go, I should say I'm from San Diego, and I do respect the taco choice as your favorite food, but I gotta say, a San Diego, California burrito, man, you can't beat it.
As I'm actually from San Diego, and I will wholeheartedly agree with you. There has not been any place in LA that I've found that does a even halfway decent California burrito, and it bums me the F out. So yes, I do agree with you.
Yeah, I didn't want to hurt your feelings by saying that, but I'm glad you agree.
Hang on. Just quickly, what makes it a San Diegan burrito? What is so different about it?
It's basically just a steak or a carne asada burrito. It's got guacamole inside, cheese, and then what makes it a California burrito is that it's got French fries inside.
Classic move.
It's delicious. It's delicious. If anybody ever goes out there, you need to try it for sure.
No worries. It's sound advice. Do you have a question while we're here?
Yeah, it's on the marketing side, but I guess not so much marketing for new users, but marketing for people who are already or had just become users. Because I come, from a marketing background myself, and I think, the first experience is always the most important, especially like their users' first drop and things like that. And as we get more users, maybe they're not, these people on this community live, eat, and breathe this stuff, but people who are new may not have, the tips to succeed on like a drop day or things like that. So I guess my question to you, and I sent this to you, Rhys, on LinkedIn actually, but my question is, do you have a plan for like indoctrinating new users, specifically like with email or like a blog post that kind of walks them through VeVe and like how to use it and, tips for using the marketplace and things like that?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. Those are some of the things that I'm planning on for certain. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of what we're doing in terms of welcoming new users onto the platform is that education piece, right? As you mentioned, everybody here lives, eat, and breathes VeVe, and I love that. But there is a bit of a learning curve that we're going to hope to smooth out a bit, just in terms of, ongoing education via social, whether that's, influencer video or, community YouTube channels and things like that, where we're doing appearances on or creating short form video on Reels, whatever the case is. We're going to continue to educate the people who are new to the platform with both kind of 101 VeVe 101 content or tips and tricks or whatever the case may be. Those are things that we are going to continue to pour over the data with and see if anybody's getting hung up in certain spots, or if they drop off because they install the app and then they don't know what to do with it. Those are all things that are going to inform kind of like the larger, marketing and social strategy in particular.
Got it. Yeah, that's good to hear for sure. Thank you, guys.
I got a question for Trevor.
Shoot.
So I know some of us have seen that there might have been an issue with the Pitbull hoverboard. I don't know if that's been brought to your attention or not, Trevor.
Is the issue?
It seems like one of the engines may be hollow and the other one appears solid.
I will take a look at it. That's probably just a modeling issue.
And then I guess my second question is for Rhys. Do we have any update on the VeVe wallet or the Ecomi wallet?
So the last update I had was that I know David was waiting for some the actual packaging and boxing to come in. The wallets themselves are they're being manufactured. They're quite a hard wallet to manufacture, but the warehouse is producing them. The biggest thing we've been waiting on is a update to the actual companion app, because it really hasn't had a facelift for quite a while, which has been in the final stages of testing for a while now. I'll chase it up after this. So then we'll need to roll it out just to a few people to make sure it's all good, and then roll that update out. The hardest part is that prior to running out of stock, people would receive a secure wallet and then have to do a firmware update straight away. So I think what they're trying to do is make sure the new app is ready to go, then update the firmware on the card before it gets sent out, just to remove a bit of an issue there. For some users, there was a bit of a latency issue. Some phones because all of the firmware updates on the card happen over the air, like from your phone. There was quite a few teething issues there, and it caused a fair few issues for me running the support on that side. So I think they're trying to get all those things in line before they make it available again and send it out.
All right, perfect. And if you need any beta tester for that, feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, no worries. If you've got, have you got one already, a wallet?
No, because they've been sold out.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't really help us on the beta testing side then.
Okay.
Yeah, we need people with the wallets to test the new app, but on the next round, yeah, I'll bring you in. That's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Mr. Viper, if you've got a question.
I'm going to try and figure this out. Can you hear me? I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff, guys. Just on the organic social side of it, I guess totally agree with on the word of mouth advertising. I think is definitely the best way for you guys to grow organically, or for the brand to grow. How is it that maybe we can unite the community now to either with an ad or a hash? Like, I can tell you myself, I don't know what it is I should be putting in there. Maybe it's because I'm ignorant to Twitter and I'm old, but I would certainly like to be able to support it. I'm just not clear on maybe the best way to go about that. And maybe if we could educate the overall users, like the 200 people on this call and the thousands in Twitterverse and everything else, how is it that we can unite them? Maybe with like all the cool stuff that we saw today with the trap as an example, right? I'll leave
great.
that for you to speak on.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the question. I think it's a great point. I think we have started to get in more of a groove once we have a fair enough lead time that we're being able to plan some of these kind of rollouts, specifically on Twitter and Instagram, where hashtags are kind of the standard in terms of tagging a subject matter in your posts. I think we experimented with this for the Marvel announcement, where we had the Marvel X VeVe hashtag. I think we're moving forward for any of those types of announcements or drops. We're going to get better about having a specific hashtag for the community to rally around. And so we'll make sure to communicate that, or make sure to tag any of our announcement posts with that, so people know that that's the tag to use. Shout out to I've heard people comment on the organic social thus far, and a huge shout out to Noah, who's been really running with the community management portion of this, in interacting with you guys on a daily basis. Gift game strong with Noah for sure. But yeah, we're definitely working on getting more and more cohesive kind of messaging around each of our drops, and that if that includes hashtags or things to use to kind of rally everybody around a cause or a specific IP, then yes, we're going to continue to do that. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, just on that with the hashtags, I think we've started doing them for each drop, right, Alex? I've seen like a Ghost Trap X VeVe or things like that.
We actually didn't do one for Ghost Trap, but just because it was kind of a super an ultra rare rather, and we knew it was going to go really fast, and there wasn't going to be a lot of lead time on that. But yeah, for everything else, we're definitely going to start to kind of brand our drops, if you will.
Yeah, from my perspective, it's I try and share the content that I've generated off it, and just how would we go best about doing that. Maybe not so much about the promotion, like, hey, come and get the drop, but hey, look how cool this is, you should want this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually helps us find that content that you're posting as well, to either reshare it or like it from the VeVe accounts. And then it also helps us kind of alert people that may be newer to the platform of all the cool stuff that people are doing in AR with their collectibles.
Yeah,
is there a recommendation you could make now as far as what we should be using?
Well, I think it's going to depend on the drop. We want to try to do, again, drop specific kind of hashtags, but it's not it's a fair question. If you're looking for something more general, I think just tagging us, tagging our handles, VeVe_official on both Instagram and Twitter, is a good start until we come up with something a little more general outside of specific IP.
Thanks, I appreciate the time.
Just on that one really incredible thing that has helped to bolster the Ecomi family is this little red circle that we have in our username. And I guess as a bit of a symbol or a badge or something for the community to rally behind and identify with. I go on Twitter now and I literally just see red circles everywhere. I see the army symbol. So maybe we can put that on your plate, Alex, to find something that might be representative of VeVe that people can kind of use to identify themselves by or rally behind as well.
Yeah, definitely heavy metal fingers. Heavy metal fingers it is. Make it so.
Well, solves it. But anything like that, I think is, as you're alluding to, just something to really help identify by, and especially across social platforms. Yeah, it's a really cool way to do it. So I'll bring a couple more people up as well. Yeah, go for it if you've got a question.
Oh yeah, I've got a community question actually. It comes from Cavell Anderson, the legend himself. So he basically wanted to ask when. Okay, I'm starting with a when question. Sorry. Yeah, I was trying to force myself not to use the word when, but it just came out. So basically, the question is, right? When will there be enough content so that app is, I guess, more supported for 1 million users, going upwards to 3 to 5 million users, given that's kind of like the target on the roadmap? Just because at the moment, I guess if we were to have 1 million users today, a lot of them wouldn't really have very much to do. So I guess what kind of strategies are going to come into place to support a lot more users in terms of content?
Might be a Trevor thing, depending on what's in the pipeline. I don't know what we can give away there, and maybe Alex, if you've got strategies on that front too.
Sure. Let me chime in quickly. I think from a marketing standpoint, it's really going to depend on us having a regular pipeline of content that's dropping. Right now, we're kind of doing as it comes in, as we continue to sign more and more licensors and IP. Eventually we're going to get to the point where we're going to have a fair amount of content that is happening any given week, so that not everybody is on the app at any given time, one time when around a specific drop. It's going to be people showing up to buy whatever happens to be new that week, as opposed to one day a week where we're doing a Thursday or Tuesday and Thursday rather. So I think we'll get there. It's obviously something that David and Dan are working very hard on, and they've been doing an amazing job this far. I can't even tell you how insane it is, the amount of IP that they've signed onto the platform. Just coming from kind of the music world and licensing world, and knowing how hard those deals are to do with brands of that caliber. So shout out to them. But yeah, I think it's an ongoing process of getting things into a pipeline and having the licensors sign off on all of this stuff on an ongoing basis, so that we have a solidified schedule, so to speak.
Yeah, and just I know we mentioned this a fair bit, but the licensors really do have the final say on everything that we do. Once Trevor creates these assets, or the teams that help him create them, like it does just back and forth consistently until everybody's happy with it. Even things at the last minute happen. Even perfect example, like the MGA release that went out yesterday. Like we were waiting until sort of the last minute for them to sign off on the press release and what they were happy with there. So yeah, as Alex said, like we really are trying to get these things into a more structured pipeline, so that we can then build campaigns around them. People are aware of it. Your app activity is more spread out throughout the week, depending on the brands you like or the things you want to interact with. But it's that's an iterative process as well. So we'll continue to work on that.
Yeah, I would also like, from the content side, it's like trying to build out that pipe, like to hit the sheer volume of content, plus at the quality bar that we're trying to push to. And you guys are starting to see how the quality bar is going up with each subsequent release. I think in the next weeks, like honestly, weeks and months, you're going to see that bar go even higher. And we're really trying to push it as hard as we can. But building out the, like, not just getting the licenses, but building out the teams and building that content, getting it over to the licensors for them to give feedback and approvals, it just takes a very long time. And these assets are, they're expensive to build there, and they take a long time to build, but we will get there. And ultimately the goal is to build a team that wants to do that. I know I talked about it briefly last time, but like the team of the content production team that we've assembled is pretty extraordinary, and they're really excited to be here. But they also, it's still just to do assets that are this big and this complicated takes a very long time. It's just the reality of it. But it's coming. It's just we have to build up the pipeline of stuff coming down.
Perfect. Okay, did you have any other questions on top of that, or we'll throw to someone else?
No, that was the last one. Yeah, feel free to pass on.
No worries. Now, TG Commander Viper, you've been in here a little while. Do you have a question there, mate? Or otherwise, I might just ask anyone who has had a question to return to the audience.
I asked mine. You can kick me out.
Can you just opt to leave the stage? I don't want to kick you and then have you just. I don't actually want to kick you out of the conversation. I don't know if it kicks you back to the audience or not.
Well, I'll try, Rhys.
Nice. And JC, you got a question there, mate? While we wait for that, maybe we'll go OMW TFYB. Guys, can we make some names for these, please? Make my life easier next week. Let's throw to you. We'll go Toasty and then Moogly.
Hey, I just had a quick question about the actual auctions in the marketplace. I noticed that it unfortunately changes the price to a lower price, and it makes it pretty hard to bid. Just want to know if that will be addressed in the future.
What do you mean it changes the price to a lower price? Can you give me a bit more on that?
In the past, every bid, if you want to place a bid, it would be 10 cents higher than the current bid. But now on your device, it would be, let's say the bid's $100. When you press the bid button, it might start out at $15.35.
I can confirm that. Yeah, I had the same issue as well. I had to manually make my bid ready.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, that's obviously something pretty recent that's happened.
Yeah, it's been like a week and a half.
All right, no worries. Let me put that on my list. I'll ask the devs about it. Yeah, so basically, you're saying if the current bid is $100, then your bid should obviously automatically be 100 and something, rather than starting at 15 and then you've got to add it. Yeah,
I didn't realize how much that 10 cents really did help until it was gone.
Yeah. It's I'll find out about that. I know that it's funny because initially you have people. The feedback is like, oh, I want to be able to set my own amount to bid rather than just go in 10-cent increments or whatever it is. Obviously, the option was already available to up the bid if you wanted to, but I'll find out what the go is there. As far as I'm aware, it should be starting at the current bid at least to make your life a bit easier.
All right, perfect. And also one more thing about the marketplace. I mentioned it before a few weeks ago in the AMA. If they will be able to, on iPhones, after you make a bid, you can't do anything for about 3 seconds. Just wanted to know if that will be fixed, because on an Android, it does work, no problem. You can make a bid and then do anything after, go to the menu, look at another item, whatever the case may be, but you can't on an iPhone.
Have you got you've got an Android and an iPhone? Like you've actually compared that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. No worries. I'll put that on the list too, and I will get back to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
No problem at all.
Also, welcome, Alex. I appreciate it.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
And
Take care, guys.
Take care. I got a question if nobody else has a question.
Yeah, if you want to jump in, Kyle, and then we'll go Mr. Moogly.
All right, very good. Alex, I think Ultraman Day is coming up this Saturday. Is there any plans maybe to capitalize on, maybe not that day specifically, but like in the future, things like that, as far as that goes?
In the future, absolutely. Yeah, those are things, I think I don't know if you caught, this last weekend was the anniversary of Back to the Future, so we put out a little something. But unbeknownst to me, everybody hangs on every word of, of those tweets. When I said who's taking their DeLorean out for a spin, I didn't mean to stir everybody up into a frenzy and a when fest of when it was going to be drivable. So apologies on my part for that. But yeah, I think building into an editorial calendar, all of those kind of dates around that may have significance for any of our IP or the digital collectible community at large. Or even VeVe, just kind of holidays, whatever the case may be, building those into the editorial calendar so we can continue to mention those and highlight any content that we have or IP or collectibles around those specific anniversaries or dates or whatever the case is. Definitely want to get that into the fold.
Thank you.
All right. Tosi, NFTs, Toddfather, and then maybe JC or Lulu.
I got some.
Yeah, go for it.
So I got two quick things. Just one, on the iPhone, you can't like send or receive gems or anything through the app. Is that being addressed, or do you guys even know about that?
Yeah. You need to use the web wallet if you use iOS. That's a Apple Overlord restriction.
Oh, okay. All right. And then second thing is kind of just like a suggestion for the auctions. Right now, the way it is, like the end time is the end time, and like it just cuts off. And people kind of use that to keep the prices low and whatnot. Could you make it so like maybe like, or have you guys thought about extending that timer? So like after the last bid is placed, maybe like give an extra 5 or 10 seconds to see if anyone wants a bid higher than that. And then like that'll kind of create like bidding wars and like more OMI will be burned. And I don't know. I think
it's definitely been suggested, extending that timer with every last bid or whatever. But yeah, to be honest, I think it's part of the experience. Yeah, like for 3 days that auction is up, is there. When it's going to end. I think that it's part of the fun of that is like, are you going to be the one that gets the last bid in, and wins that collectible? So if you I think it would dilute the experience and dilute the auction process if every single auction got extended every time someone made a last second bid. But look, it's an option. I never rule anything out, but I think at the moment we're pretty content to stick with it how it is.
Right on. Thank you.
No problem. Mr. Toddfather.
Yeah, I got a question about the desktop version for the app.
Yep.
Are you worried that's going to give users another form of emulator that can be used for auto-clicking?
No, it doesn't really change things compared to what's already taking place.
Can you load up multiple instances of the web version?
I honestly have no idea. We'll have to find out when we're a bit closer to. I don't think so. I think it'll all be the same if it's the same browser or the same thing. But yeah,
multiple browsers then with different, like Firefox, Chrome.
Yeah, but I guess by the same token, you can have multiple phones, right, with multiple accounts. Like I'm not sure what they're going to build in there to.
Yeah, the thing is auto-clicking. You can't auto-click phones as easily as you can on desktops.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But as Dan mentioned earlier, we'll continue to build in ways to try and mitigate those kind of things as well.
I don't know if this question's been asked before, but with the vault, are you going to make it easier to load up duplicates? Because I have 50 copies of some, and it takes forever when the list closes after every drop.
Trevor?
I'm sorry, what was it? You have 50 duplicates of a collectible, or what do you
Yeah, so I want to add like a bunch of duplicates into the vault at one time, but it's really tedious when it closes the list after every drop. When you put one in, it closes, and you have to go back through 700 collectibles and do it again.
That's an interesting. That's a usability challenge. I guess I'll make a note of that, or Rhys, I don't know if you're making a note of that, but we can talk about how we want to handle.
So you even select just like 10 of the same.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying there. Yeah, I know that we're building in ways that you can move sets around together and things like that. But yeah,
that'd be cool.
To be able to select multiples.
You're gonna have a search box as well.
Hello.
I think eventually, yeah. I think we'll build that in eventually for sure. But yeah, I'll make a note of that just to say, yeah, I know the concept you're saying, like almost like if you're selecting photos on your phone, you can select
Yeah,
multiple
exactly.
and then send them. Yeah, that kind of thing.
'Cause
Yeah, all right.
I got a bunch of Superman. I want to do like a massive vault, but it's so annoying doing it one at a time.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, there's obviously some UI that needs to be built in there, because then when you drop them in, well, are they all
Yeah,
just
maybe
in
like
one place
stack,
and then you separate them? Or?
yeah, stagnate next to each other, left to right.
Yeah, something like that. All right, I'll make a note. We
I
can
got
chat
one more
about it.
thing as well.
Yeah, go.
With the auctions, it says ending in a few seconds. Is it possible to do a countdown timer, like with actual seconds?
Yeah, I think there will be. Hang on, we're just going to mute someone. That's better. Yeah, I think we will eventually, but I'll put that on the list as well, and we'll just see if we can put a countdown timer on.
That's me done. Thanks for your time.
No worries, thanks, mate. So what do we got? Maybe another 5 minutes, guys. JC, are you up here? You got a question? And then we got the last two, and then we might wrap it
Yeah,
up.
can you hear me?
Yeah, mate, go for it.
Yeah, just a quick question. I think it's just a follow-up. Someone mentioned it. Do you see any challenges retaining like new users? I know Alex is gonna start kicking the marketing and stuff like that, or bringing more people. And like we say, everything is about the first impression, experience, and I don't know how they're gonna feel when the experience is like the 3 to 5 seconds sold out. If you blink, you lose. So do you see any challenge on that?
Yes. So there's always a challenge in retaining users, no matter what your app is or what your experience is. I think what any marketer worth his salt does is it continues to look at the data and make informed decisions on where the opportunities are, where the drop-offs are, where we're seeing people interact with the app or the experience, and where we're seeing them drop off. So I'll continue to pour through the data as we start to put around a kind of a larger strategy and plan around how we are marketing VeVe to the audience at large. But that is definitely on my list of things, is to make sure that we're not any new users that we're bringing onto the platform with any campaigns, that they stick around, that they feel welcome, that they understand how it works, and they understand the value of and fun, quite frankly, of collecting digital collectibles. So yeah, definitely a challenge, but definitely up for it, and I look forward to kind of pouring through that data, especially as we'll see probably a lot more people coming on to the platform around when we start dropping Marvel stuff, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. And welcome.
Perfect. Xavier, if you want to jump in there.
Hello. I appreciate what you guys are all doing. I just want to quickly ask, is it possible maybe to add have your own character? You can personalize, how he looks or how she looks. Maybe buy clothing for your character, stuff like that, like your own avatar. Maybe you already talked about it before. And to add to that, maybe for the master collector program, you could dish out special clothing for having certain sets completed or something. You can hang it up in your room or wear certain clothes. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I think any sort of avatar or that implementation will come with the VeVeverse. Whether the licensors let us enable a way for you to use your Batman or your Superman as your avatar, or whether you create your own and in that digital space, I'm not 100% on yet. But it's we definitely need some sort of individual representation in that digital world. So I think that we'll see something like that. Trevor, has that entered our conversation yet?
We've talked about it. It's complicated to build, but it's something that we're interested in doing. I won't make any promises on what it's going to be yet.
Yeah, perfect. Does that answer your question then?
Yeah, that definitely answers it. I appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. Goody, and then Mr. Poorman. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi, I wanted to say welcome, Alex, and I'll be super quick and I'll hold you guys. With the auctions, with it being 3 days and the Medium articles coming out on a Wednesday for mint numbers and prices, it kind of forces you to put things up for auction on Monday to see if you have enough to participate. Pretty much drained my wallet so far, so I'm trying to flip to participate. Is there any way to maybe do a 1-day auction?
Yeah. It's definitely been spoken about. We'll continue to refine that. I think eventually you'll be able to set your own time length on the auctions. But if anything, I think most people know that most of the action in an auction takes place in the last 24 hours anyway. So I think the next iteration will be 24-hour auctions instead of 72 hours, and we'll see how that goes and roll it out from there.
All right, thanks. And one more quick one. Is there any Ghost Trap can suck anything else in the future?
Trevor?
I'm sorry, he cut out in the middle. What was he asking?
I think it was people, and just in case anyone hasn't seen it yet, the Slimer and Ghost Trap do actually interact, and the Ghost Trap will suck in the Slimer, but he wanted to know if the Ghost Trap is likely to suck anything else in the future.
It depends what they set it up to do. I'm sure we could find more stuff for it to suck in.
I was just curious if I needed a lumpy princess or not.
Oh, you just think anything that floats maybe will be.
Yeah, I think people were trying the Stay Puffed and trying to suck him in, and I commented on Twitter his hips were too big.
Too many marshmallows, eh? Also, shout out Kyle. Credit to you for the red OMI circle, my friend. Killer move in the community.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Where credit's due.
And last thing, Rhys, how did the sale of your car, how'd that go?
Oh, it went very well. I sold it, I think, like 2 hours after we spoke, and then I bought more OMI. And that has also gone very well.
Your Lambo's
Classic
coming
Rhys.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have any vehicles left to sell, so it's up next is the kidney, I've been informed. But we might throw to you, Mr. Poorman, and then we'll wrap it up for the day, I think, guys.
Hey guys, how you doing? Is the mic sounding okay? I've been having a lot of mic problems.
Sounds delightful. Music to my ears.
So I got a question and a marketing pitch. Now listen to me. Welcome to the team, Alex, by the way. So let's just say you're on the beach, right? You're chilling with your girlfriend or your wife or both, however you roll, and you look up in the sky and you see this plane, right? And this plane is pulling this banner, and the banner says, "Come to VeVe, free beer." No, wait, stay with me. Stay with me. Flying this plane, all you see is a big lock of hair flapping through the wind, and it's Rhys flying it. What do you think?
I mean, I'm all for it. Alex, marketing plan? Sound good?
Yeah, I mean, I would have Harley Quinn bombshell driving the plane personally. I mean, nothing against you, Rhys, but yeah, I'm all in. Let's do it.
I don't mind a bit of cosplay, for the record.
Definitely one for me too.
You just have to bleach your hair.
Yeah, let's see.
That's great, guys. All right, so my question is, how things going with the integration to Immutable X? Is everything looking good on time, or any kind of timeline?
Yeah. I'll need to get a bit of an update on that. I know when it was originally mapped out, Michael, the CTO, said he was estimating sort of 6 to 8 weeks. That would put us end of this month, early next month. So I think, I know that the development is already underway. In terms of like the day that we say, yep, we're migrating now, or the token swap is open, I don't quite have the exacts yet, but look, best case, I think we're probably seeing it in the next 4 weeks. But I've kind of been saying to people by the end of August, just to be safe. I hope that ends up being a safe estimate. But it's underway. It's underway, and as soon as Michael tells us that we're ready to go, then we'll start rolling on it.
That is awesome. Also, when Britney Spears, Trevor.
Trevor, you working on that or what?
It's Brittany, bitch.
We actually got the LOL dolls just for you, poor man.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, mate. All right, guys, we might wrap it up there. Just big thank you for everyone for showing up again. Thanks for recording. Thanks for all your questions and always being here. Big welcome to Alex. You guys will get to know him more, and you can follow him on Twitter. Alex, what is your Twitter handle there?
It is all one word, Reverend Alex G. And yes, I am an ordained minister.
That was my next question. Fantastic. All right, guys, you know where to find him. You can already find us all over socials. So, big thanks to everyone, and we will talk next week.
Thank you for the warm welcome, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. Let's get it.
Cheers, guys. See you later.